Hello, everyone. I'm David Green, founder and CEO of Rediscover Clean and You're a Rockstar Leadership Academy. I was born in 1962, which makes me part of the baby boomer generation. So today we're going to talk about how you lead in these different generations that are happening right now. My leadership journey has been shaped by hard work, loyalty, and the environments that I've led in. Places like the Cleveland Clinic, the Ritz-Carlton, and in these places, structure, hierarchy, and long hours really defined your success. But leadership doesn't look the same today as it did when I was started. To really understand how leadership is evolving, I wanted to bring in someone very special to me who lives it every day from a different perspective. My daughter, Whitney Green Olson, is the CEO of Mellon Local, and that's a marketing company that serves insurance agencies all across the country. Now, she was born in 1987, making her a millennial, and she leads a team that is primarily millennials with a growing number of Gen Z employees. Her leadership challenges and solutions look very different from mine. So today, we're here together to have an honest conversation, a boomer and a millennial side by side, comparing what motivated us then and what motivates people now, and how leaders can bridge those differences to build stronger teams.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dad. I'm excited that you invited me, and I'm really sorry I can't be in person. So yeah, he's right. Leadership looks nothing like it did for him when he was starting, and I've had to figure out how to lead across generations. He did say I'm mostly millennials in my company, but there is a strong entrance of Gen Z entering the workforce. So when I started Mellon, though, too, about 6 years ago now, I get some things after you, Dad. You know, not just my good looks, but also my hard work. So I was raised, 15. If I wanted anything, I had to work for it. So I had a few jobs all the time. I was always hustling, and I wanted to move out of my small town of Hopkinsville. So I'm very familiar with the hard work and the long hours. So when I started Mellon about 6 years ago, I was fortunate to have a few people on my team that had the same mindset. Like, to get to where you want the company to be, you got to work hard and put in the late hours. And luckily, those few team members are still with me today, and it had a lot of late nights, wine nights at the office, pizza, anything to keep us going, so that we could get this company um, off the ground. But over the years, I've definitely had to change my mindset, right? With other generations coming in, figuring out that what's important to those generations, right? So you and you more so with the um, having the older generation, it was long hours, kind of got you to where you needed to be. Whereas I kind of was raised with that mentality, but I've had to shift. So yeah, I'm excited to kind of talk about some of these things today. And I'm still learning every day on how to get it right with handling different generations. But I think this is a great conversation. It's really important in the workplace today.
Cool. I think it's going to be very valuable for people to hear the differences and learn as they go. Although you did call me old, so I'll remember that as we go through this. So let's talk about maybe a Q&A back and forth on the different things related to work. So big thing now is obviously work-life balance. So for me, balance meant putting in long hours to provide for the family. The balance was knowing hard work brought stability. What does that mean for you, Whitney?
Yeah, so I've over the years I've realized that the team really enjoys the work-life balance, which rightfully so, right? Being able to have that flexibility is sometimes more rewarding and motivating than even the paycheck, right? They want to know that they can have their well-being time. We even implemented, gosh, it's been a few years now too. We even implemented like our afternoon wellness time. We kind of used to call it like a wellness hour, but it's really only supposed to only be about 15-20 minutes though, but they can use that time as an extra break throughout the day. I've got some departments that just get together at a table, they play some board games, or they'll play like Pictionary or something on their computers, or they can go for a walk, kind of go outside, clear their mind for the day, especially if they've been on back-to-back calls all day. So really prioritizing the flexibility, the work-life balance, and yeah.
Well, that's interesting because I think even in the the age that I come from, I even find myself wanting to gravitate to that type of environment. I know I've been to your office and I thought it was so cool to see areas like where you had a desk and a treadmill under the desk. So, I mean, I think I could actually enjoy that. So that's cool. All right. Well, what about like career growth and loyalty? Okay. So for me, loyalty was about staying with a company for a long haul or staying in that business for a long haul. Advancement came slowly, but that was kind of like expected. What about with you and your team?
Yeah, I totally understand that, and it is. I think the generations these days, it might come off as sometimes like maybe an entitlement, but I just think they just want things faster, right? They want that growth path, they want a clear direction, and it is hard to navigate sometimes of like how fast is something supposed to be? What are other companies doing? What do I need to do to make sure that we're staying competitive? But I've learned to understand that it's just how can we reward results and initiative and not just kind of focus on the time that they've served or they've been here.
All right, yeah, it's funny you mentioned entitlement. I do hear that quite a bit sometimes from like I guess older generations thinking that people feel like they're just entitled. So that makes a lot of sense. All right, let's talk about recognition. So back in my day, recognition was a steady paycheck and job security. You didn't really need that daily praise, or at least maybe just because you never received it, but you didn't feel like you needed it. What about recognition with you and your team?
Really big motivator here, and rightfully so. I get it. I mean, same for you though. Like, I don't, for myself, especially at the top, I guess it's a little hard to realize that you're not always gonna be the one that people are thanking or getting shout outs. And so I'm used to that, but I have to put my mind, I have to like change my mindset and think about what if I was a team member or if I was on my team, what would motivate me? And the recognition is a really big thing here. So, a couple of the things that we've put into play are we've got a program called Motivosity. So, it's a platform where the team can go on and, well, mostly like people leads. It's really important that the people leads get on there and they're giving shout outs to their team or they're giving melon bucks out and all of these praises or shout outs. It can even be like if a client shouts us out or emails over like quality assurance, right? Then I'm going to be able to put that in Motivosity. The whole team can see it. We also acknowledge birthdays on there and melonversaries. So that means melonversary, get it? Like their anniversary of work.
Yeah.
We have puns for everything, you know that, Dad. So we have that where they can earn the bucks and then they get prizes on there. So we're working on maybe like a staycation, out here in Las Vegas for a weekend, or some of our Google swag, or some of our cool melon swag. So we work on that. That's a really big motivator. We even have a dedicated like Zoom chat that throughout the day the team can like give updates on their small wins. So if they got an upgrade or if someone jumped on a call and helped them out and talking to a client. So lots of emojis and praising all of our small wins. Um, so yeah, and we do focus on our team, like we celebrate everything. So I mean, you've come by the office, you see it's pretty close-knit family too. So like if we know that you're getting married or you're having a baby or you're going on a vacation for the week or whatever, like what can we do to make sure that the team sees that? Or maybe I throw you, 20 bucks Apple Cash to go have a drink and celebrate. But if you're getting like a house or a baby, like we've thrown baby showers, we make sure that we've got a bottle of wine on your desk when you come in the next day to, say congrats. So, really big on recognition and trying to use that as a motivating factor because that is what motivates a lot of them, right? They want to hear the praise. They want to know that they've got that path, that they're doing good. So, yeah,
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. That platform sounds cool, and I'm assuming that's an app, right? You get it
yeah,
on the iPhone, right, or the
yeah.
Android.
Essentially,
Um,
it's kind of like a Facebook feed almost, like kind of looks like a social
yeah.
platform. So people are used to it. And there's lots of GIFs. Is it GIFs or GIFs? See, that's it. But there's lots of those on the platform. The team has a lot of fun with those.
Okay. Cool. Well, yeah. Well, again, as I've gotten older, and now that obviously I teach this to folks, recognition I feel is the most important part of engagement. So I've always said that like what gets recognized or rewarded will continue to happen again. So it's a way to build that into it. So that's awesome.
Yep.
All right. How about like flexibility and remote work? That's a big topic these days because obviously during the COVID, everybody went remote. And now it's kind of like, hybrids. And then you got companies that are saying, come on back. Now, back in my day, being in the office meant you were committed. It meant that that's how trust was built when they saw you in the office working and so forth. What about these days? That's obviously a hot topic. What about you guys?
Very hot topic. And one that I have had to change my mindset over the years. So I was raised, hard work, like you're in the office, you're putting in the hours. But I think somewhere during like that 6 years, it also kind of, I would get confused on if that's what I wanted or if it was more of the collaboration and the results, right? So flexibility is a big thing. I am against a full remote type of role, but I do have them. So it's a department thing. I talk about this with
Yeah.
my people leads a lot, and I say, okay, but for your department, for example, isn't it better when you guys are in office and have a quick way to collaborate, right? If you need to, knock something out or you've got a project you're working on. So, but then I've also got like my client success team and they're on calls back to back to back, or my sales, right? And they're talking to clients all day. So they don't get as much time to even maybe have the interaction with the rest of the team or the company. So I do have some departments that I've definitely allowed more of an opportunity for maybe one day a week where they can kind of have that day at home that they're working from home, kind of reset while they're on their calls. But I've slowly started implementing ways to reward the company and the team. So yeah, we do our best to try to implement rewarding them with work from home days, right? And I get it when you're on calls all day and you're talking to clients or agents or whatever, like you kind of just want to I don't want people burnt out. And I think for the longest time I
Yeah.
had to really recognize that that's what the team was really trying to fight for. And I've probably lost some good people because they wanted maybe more of the flexibility. And in a few years ago, I wasn't ready for that. I thought everyone had to be in office. We're here to make this startup work. I want everyone accounted for. I had that mindset. So I am a work in progress on that always. But what I've really had to, recognize is that I care about my team. I care about making this company thrive. And if I don't listen to like what motivates them and what's going to keep me competitive, I'm not going to have my good employees. So I am always working on it and I am doing my best to have more of the flexibility. If someone's got an appointment or they've got kids and they've got to run and do something for the day, just check in with your people lead. Is the work done? Did you finish that project? Now, if that means you might have to stay on a little bit later that day to finish it, I also don't want that to be perceived as that we're making, that we're rewarding people late hours. It's just how can we give you that flexibility so that you can hop on later and finish something up.
Right.
So I could go down
Right.
rabbit holes with that one, but I hope that kind of answered the question of it's
Yeah.
really shifting the mindset, and it is hard, especially how I was raised too. So yeah, but it is important,
Yeah.
and I listen to my people and I care about them.
Well, that's the bottom line. I mean, one of my mantras is leading with kindness is the new cool. So obviously,
I like
it's
that.
sometimes people think just being kind and listening to employees is like a pushover, but really it's not. I always say it's kind of like a superhuman strength, because you still have accountability measures. Even though the expectations, I mean, you create these expectations to be very high, but just because you're treating people well and taking care of them and listening to them, like you said, I mean, that's the name of the game, but you still have accountability. So
Yeah.
anyway, I'll move on.
Yep.
All right, so motivation. Let's talk about motivation. Back in my day, we put in the extra hours and then we get rewarded. So that was the real simple deal. But now, how is it now with like motivation for the millennials and the Gen Zs and those folks?
Yeah. I mean, money motivates me, but no, I think at the core, right? Money is always going to be a motivator, but I think kind of what we've talked about with having that recognition, having a company that listens, having a company that cares about your mental well-being, the support, kind of a safe space. So I think what I've noticed is that while the money is a big motivator, right? Do you feel comfortable coming into work? Do you have a safe place? Are you getting recognized? Do you feel that you're being recognized for the work that you're putting in? Um, and they just want purpose, right? They want to be part of a growing company. I mean, we're almost 6 years now. So I guess we're kind of out of the startup, but we have big visions and I try to be as transparent as possible with the team when we have like our state of the melon meetings. So once a month, like what's on the forecast? What are we working on next? How are we moving from this industry to another industry? So we've even recently started like task force. So we've got little teams too that maybe they're in this department, but if we're working on expanding to another vertical or we're trying to do something completely different that we've never tried before, like how can I put this team together because of they're in this department, they're in this department, and make sure that everyone feels that they have a purpose and that they are motivated to say like, hey, this is a new project. I want to take it on and tackle it. So another thing with Melon is that over the years, we've definitely being very kind, and I always want to give everyone a chance, right? I always believe in everyone. I think that maybe I just didn't have them in the right position. So what can I do now? And that is definitely one of my weaknesses. But it has allowed me to realize that some people weren't put in the right role. And I do think that they believed in the company and they are good people. So like, where can we place them somewhere else? And it hasn't always worked, but the ones that it has worked for, I think that it's really helped them regain their motivation and purpose and seeing the bigger picture of like, what can I bring to Mellon Local and how can I help the leaders and myself, thrive with the company. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
I like when you said, I don't know if you said the word mistake, but you felt like you maybe could have done something differently. And that's an awesome leadership trait. That's being humble. So that's very, very good. I find that very, very impressive. Of course, you're my daughter. I have to say that, right?
I was like, wonder where I get it from.
All right, how about communication styles? Now, back in my day, and I hate to say it, but it was the way it was, leadership meant authority. It was just all formal communication, and you respected the chain of command. So obviously it's different these days, and I teach things differently than that, but what is it? What's important to the teams in today's generations about communication?
Um, that's a good one. Over the 6 years, we've definitely changed leadership, communication, and styles, I think. And for a while, I started this business. I did have a business partner. And then I've got my husband, Perry, that's very heavily involved as well. But I think for a long time, I would say another mistake along the way is listening to what a business is supposed to be and how corporate is supposed to be or how things are supposed to run. And I I ran into a lot of roadblocks that like that's not how I wanted to run my company. Like if I want to go talk to someone on the floor, like I want to feel comfortable doing it, but I also want that person to feel comfortable that I'm going to them, right? And so it would sometimes run into like, well, I need to go to this person to talk to this person to go to the command. And while a command is very important and I obviously believe in hierarchy and there's some things that I'll definitely take to my people leads first, but if it's just to have a conversation or to go over an idea or to get someone's opinion on the floor, like someone completely maybe that I would never have had the opportunity to if I didn't ask. Yeah, kind of just the stance of it's open door. Like I want people to feel that they can come talk to me. Like I might not need to know about you running late or there's some things that still get brought to me that I'm like, no, okay, now we're crossing the line a little bit. But no, like if you've got an idea or you've got something that you want to bring value, like come to me or come to one of the other C-suite members. Yeah.
Yeah,
So and
makes
it's important.
sense.
I think that's motivating for them, right? Like the team wants to be able to talk to leadership and they don't want to feel that they have to go through all these hoops. So as long as they're still respectful, right? Though, I mean, of course, you don't want someone to just think that they can take advantage or they're being disrespectful in the way they go about it. But if it's done in a respectful manner, like, yeah, come to me, give me an idea. Like, so
Do you find your team wants things to be more transparent?
transparency is key. I mean, yes, lots of transparency. And you know, we do our best. I mean, that's one of our kind of core values is how transparent we are, not just with clients, but with our team. But I mean, it's hard at the top, right? Like the team, you've always got the team members or your employees that think that you can be even more transparent. I'm like, there's some things that we just can't always talk about yet, right? There's so many other
Right.
things in the bigger scheme of things. So anything that we do, it's never to hide it from the team or that we weren't trying to, but also back to communication. s- It's just hard, like communication. Like if anyone can find me a company that's perfect at it, please let me know because a lot of it is, right? Like if I think that I
Right.
told Matt and then he told Richard or whatever, like I just thought that that got done, but maybe I didn't put it in the right form of communication. Or does that person like an email via text? Like I'm a big texter. I don't do a lot of phone calls. I will, but I'm not a big phone call person. I just like a text or in person. Like that goes kind of back to the work from home, not to go off guard a little bit. But if I'm going to have a meeting, I want the people I'm meeting with on in person, right? So I'm sorry, I apologize. I'm not in person with you guys and I'm on Zoom, but Zoom is not my preferred, method of communication. So to kind of circle back to that, miscommunication is a lot, right? Was that on Zoom? Was that on an email? Like, where did that get said? So I think sometimes that comes off to some of the team that maybe it wasn't handled properly because it wasn't communicated properly, when really it was just one wrong line of where we tried to put that communication or that updated information, and it got missed, right? There's so many chats, there's so many emails, there's so many meetings, and it's hard to streamline everything. Constantly working on it though, always looking for advice there. But I don't see
Yeah,
how any company can perfect communication within a team, especially when you get over a certain amount of employees. But if it's out there, let me
yeah.
know. Would you agree? Or
No, I agree. I mean, obviously, we always work toward perfection, but yeah, I think of all the surveys that I've seen come back from, engagement surveys and so forth, communication is always the top of the list because it's just so difficult,
yeah,
so difficult. So, all right. How about technology? All right, back in my day, it was phone calls, memos, face to face. Um, if you didn't pick up the phone, you weren't reachable. So, like these days, how do you guys use technology to communicate? I know you mentioned a couple of them a little bit ago, but
yeah.
maybe narrow it down more about what you guys look at.
Did you also have like pigeons back in your day, or like fax machines? Fax machines, are those still a thing? No. Okay.
Okay, all
Pager?
right.
I bet
Yeah,
you had a pager.
we did have pagers. Yeah, yeah.
um so communication here. I mean, I'm not big on the phone calls. I'm a texter. I don't know so if that was the generation there, but I love text. My emails, woo, I mean, you get so many a day. That one's hard. But for our team, we do a lot of Zoom, so kind of like a Slack channel Zoom, right? um if I'm out of the office, I'm always kind of like, hey, I prefer a text or a phone call though if it's something urgent. But I think that kind of goes back to also just getting to know each team member that you need to deal with the most and like how they like to be communicated with. But we do like it's Zoom, a lot of Zoom. I have to get used to, like, especially the Gen Z, that an emoji on like a message counts, right? Like that, like you would probably not be having it, right? You'd be like, no, I need acknowledgement. So there's still sometimes I'll catch myself. I'm like, I need you to just say you saw this or approve. And then I'm like, but they emojied. All right, we're acknowledged, I guess, right? So emojis or a GIF, right? I guess if they send a GIF, then I guess that counts. So I'm working on being okay with an emoji, or constantly working on ways to figure out how to communicate better with Gen Z, and the emojis. And I've got a video to show you in a few after we maybe finish up some of these other questions that my Gen Z, mostly my social media team, they've had some fun trying to teach me some of this stuff. So we'll circle back to that one too.
All right. Well, I'm thinking too back in my day, and I'm obviously I'm learning as we go through this little Q&A, but we had Rolodexes and we had the landline phones and again, even if I'm getting off the track, I remember like we didn't have um, we had like MapQuest and we had like printed maps to get around and everything. And so it's funny how technology has evolved, but I guess what I'm learning is though, even though I'm not a millennial or a Gen Z or whatever, I think, if you're truly going to be successful in the leadership world, I've adapted. I find myself enjoying the emojis and I'm actually okay with, someone giving me the thumbs up or the smiley face or whatever, or the, so I think the important message, and I'm kind of learning through this, is that, if you're going to be successful, you've got to be able to pivot and adapt to these new situations. So interesting.
Yeah.
How about you? What's your thoughts there?
Um, I mean, I was raised with the rotary phone. Is that what you call it, right? I mean, so yeah, I mean, I'm very familiar with the printed maps and everything too. But yes, being adaptable, and that kind of goes back to even just like communicating with. I mean, because even the millennial is. I think I told you this earlier. Like, I feel like it's still a pretty wide range. Like, I mean, like, I consider myself an older millennial, but then there's still some newer millennials that are, I would classify them more as kind of like the Gen Z, but, or like kind of, yeah. I don't know, but if I don't know if that makes sense. But anyways, long. So I do
Yeah.
feel myself older millennial, um, but it's all about instant, right? So your AI tools, and we use so many, and there's so many that I mean, I've had to adapt, or I have to go to a younger millennial or someone like on the team that knows more about AI. I'm like, how do I do this? How do I talk to Chat GPT?
Yeah.
But I mean, you've gotten better. We were on vacation, right? You were trying to Chat GPT a
Yeah.
photo of Perry in an outfit. Like set the whole prompt and like had a picture created. So you're
Yeah.
you're coming along, right?
I know.
And
I'm thinking that too, because I
yeah,
remember when I started my company a few years ago, you said, "Have you heard of Chat GPT?" And I'm like, "No, I've
yeah,
never heard of it."
I
Now I
changed.
use it every day, all day long, for everything from writing emails to helping with reports and everything. It's just crazy. So yeah.
Yeah, I'm still trying to make it figure out how to I can garden in Las Vegas, but it hasn't figured that one out yet. Keeps killing the plants out here. But yeah, so everything, yeah, I would say, like I told you earlier, we've got the Zoom, we've got Google Drive, we've got our email. So definitely overwhelming sometimes with all the different forms of possible communication or what we need to use to be productive.
Yeah.
But it's just like teaching everyone to be more productive with them, which AI is, making that a lot easier, which is good, right? So
Yeah.
there's always a new tool, and trust me, I'm kind of right there with you. Sometimes I'm like, what was that one? I've never even heard of that. But Gen Z and my millennials are keeping me up to date, keeping me cool.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, I saw a quote the other day about AI. I thought was interesting that it said, let's see if I can get it right. Everything that we have learned or everything we're currently doing today will change.
Hmm.
So, I mean, when you think about that, that's pretty deep because, like, everything that we do and how we do things, it will change. So, anyway,
Yeah.
all right, you want to have a little fun? I think we've got some stuff we want to do, some slang or some different languages. You want to start out with one or?
Yeah, yeah. Well, why don't I show the video real quick of what we put together for
Okay.
our social media, and then they'll prompt me to ask you some questions.
Okay,
All
sounds
right.
good. All right.
Welcome to Gen Z 101 with Whitney. We're gonna start with first slay. Slay, good. But when you add the house down, even better. You can even go as far as slay the house down. Boots. 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 But we're not there yet. Next, aura. This can be a positive connotation. This is like your vibe, but aura farming.
Aura farming.
Mm-hmm.
So farming bad,
Mm-hmm.
aura good.
Clock it. That's kind of like you clock it, you see it.
Is it like how you guys don't clock in?
Not that.
Okay.
We'll skip that one right now.
A few moments later.
I'll let her know that last report had, I'll go all caps.
Whitney, booked another demo.
Clock it.
Yeah. 6, 7, 8.
All right, team, I gotta tell you something. You slay the house down. I learned that one too. Carry on.
All right. So what'd you think? Did you even know half of those words, Dad?
No,
I don't. Okay. So you don't know what slay means?
no. I would think it might be something from a dragon movie, but I'm guessing that's not it.
No, but I mean, I probably wasn't far behind you with that one, but I did. Slay has been one of my favorite for a while now. So yeah, slay is good, right? Like they told me good, like you saw in the video, but, and then slay the house down. So that's what you're doing with this event. You are slaying. So I guess you can tell everyone that.
Sometimes I hear the word ghosting. What does that mean? I mean, back in my day, that meant maybe someone didn't show up. What is that now?
Oh, so I mean, yeah, I kind of knew about that one. So ghosting, ignore. Yeah, okay. What's another? Well, while I've
Okay,
got you in here, what's another one I
all
should
right.
ask if my dad knows? Oh, clock it. She taught me clock it the other day, which is
Okay.
good. Clock it. Dad, I mean, you saw the video. I asked, is that like how you guys don't know how to clock in? They didn't think that
Yeah,
was
yeah, yeah. I
funny.
remember it was on there. Yeah. Sometimes I hear the phrase quiet quitting. Now, what does that mean?
Quiet quitting, basically just doing less, but you're still coming in.
Ah, okay.
Mm.
All right.
We don't want no quiet quitters. Quitters. Well, officially, Dad, we'll have to keep watching TikTok and some other things to keep us,
All
I
right.
guess, trendy.
All right. Well, bottom line, it sounds like there's a lot of similarities, but at the same time, it's important that we all, as leaders, are strategic to, think about all the different generations that you're working with. Because obviously, like you said, listening, that was one word I heard a lot of. Even back in my day, that was important to listen. And then the strategy would be to have that fundamental bond between the leaders and obviously your team. So I think at the end of the day, no matter what generation you're in, that's the key. So that, yeah, it was very informative today. I really, really enjoyed, obviously, always enjoy talking with you. I know we're doing this via Zoom and recording it because I know you couldn't be at the event like we wanted to because, you got to go off to Italy, and do your Italy thing, but
Sorry.
yeah.
You didn't book
But
me quick
anyway,
enough. You didn't tell me, or I would have
I know,
penciled it
I
in.
know, I know, typical me. So, but anyway, listening, being humble, I think those are key things, and I definitely learned a lot. And again, I think at the end of the day, everyone listening is, study the different generations. We talked about Gen Z, we talked about the baby boomers, we talked about millennials. There's a few more out there. Just learn what the traits are for each of those and what those folks need from a leader, and I think that will make the people successful. So
I agree. Very, very good insight. And am sorry that I'm not there in person, but I'm really glad I got to go or to still come on and talk about some of this. So much appreciated.
very good. All right, well, everyone, a super big thanks to my daughter Whitney. And by the way, it is National Daughter Day, so I am very, very proud of you, Whitney. So let's give a virtual round of applause to Whitney. Thank you, Whitney.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh, wait, Dad, like this.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. All right. Thanks.